Howdy folks, Craigster Senior Hot Nuts Diecast. Been a little bit since I posted a racing video of any kind and took a little hiatus from this hobby. You know, life, everybody has to deal with certain things, but never want to leave the diecast racing community behind. You guys are awesome. Appreciate everybody that sent cars to my track for races in the past. Definitely going to be getting those cars that were paid for as far as shipping goes back to y'all at some point. I can't guarantee it, but as soon as I get it in the mail, I will send you tracking information. And everybody that was gracious enough to allow me to keep their cars to the very end of the year, much appreciated. That'll make it a lot more easy for me. But anyways, we're going to, without further ado, we're going to race some gift cars here and just have some fun. Hang out with old Craigster Senior. All y'all. All my buddies. Hang out with Craigster Senior for a little bit, would you? Thank you. And special shout out to my buddy Jim with Sunshine City Garage. He's been over here a couple times. We've been a little test and tune, comparing notes. He's a customizer, really good at that. And he's just kind of dipping his toe into the racing scene, looking to test some cars over here and stuff. So I give him a few pointers, what I know, which ain't much, but give him a little jump start. And hopefully you'll see him at some races real soon. Meantime, here we go. We're going to get all these stock cars for the gift race. Send them down Moonshine Drag Strip. Got a bunch of stickers from all y'all. If you got any stickers you want to send, please do send them my way. Always much appreciated. Reminder of the fastest pass on the track. Track record held by Flips with that F-150 sent for the Lightning Strikes Twice tournament, the modified 1.445. And since it's been a little bit since y'all been here, I'll show you a couple of things that I've added just on display. Some new stuff, some old stuff that was packed away that I ran across and threw out, but threw out here on display, I mean. But a couple of new purchases. Built this whole bracket rack deal here, so it'd be a lot easier to keep track of, the 32 car bracket tournaments. Much easier when you have a place to store everything. Granted, it's covering up a whole wall of cars back here, which I will get to eventually someday. Yes, I will. But for right now, this is what we're dealing with, and this dealio right here. So this is how this works. You've got an orange hash mark and a blue hash mark on each car bracket that's coming up, and the color that comes up on the spinner wheel here will get lane 1. It's almost like a chip draw, but it's a random spinning wheel, and whichever color comes up is going to be in lane 1. So blue car would be in lane 1 in that case. Alright, so let's get started. Oh my, so right out of the gate we get like one of the, probably would have been a final race, but unfortunately this is bracket racing. And I did put these cars, I paired them together with like castings or like weights as much as I could to kind of make it fair, because sometimes these heavyweights will just dominate, but you just never know. So first up in the 65 Mustang, we've got quite a group. We got Grateful Sam, Triple B, Dog Squab Racing, and Kitterman Speed Shop, and Archon 8 Industries. And then over there in the Firebird Funny Car, we've got Elevation Diecast, Model Speed Shop, Cut Rocka, Henry Stanislawski, Bavarian Diecast, and Slammin' Sammy. Quite the entourage in both of these vehicles. Unfortunately, one of them's going down. Let's see which one takes it. And the funny car taking the first one. 1-8 time to beat. Alright, we've swapped lanes. 1.5, 1-8 time to beat. Not gonna happen. Funny car with a 1-3, improving his time and moving on. Okay, the next two cars up are the Corvette Roadsters here. Neither one of these cars were picked, unfortunately, but what we're gonna do is, since nobody picked them, we're just gonna run them as the people who actually sent them in, which is 131 Racing in the red and Rissell Racing in the white. And let's see who gets lane choice. It will be orange, which is going to be the red car. All right, so we got 131 in lane 1 and Rissell Racing in lane 2. And I love these GS Corvettes, are awesome looking. And 131 taking that one. We'll swap lanes. All right, time to beat 1.510. Not gonna happen. 131's Corvette will be moving on. All right, a couple of Toyotas here going at it. And these both went unpicked, unfortunately. But Abby Normal sent in the orange one, and Elevation sent in the blue. So let's see which one is gonna go into lane 1. Let's free that up a little bit. Okay, make it a little bit more fair. And we got orange. All right, so orange car going to lane 1. All right, so once again we've got Abby Normal in lane 1 and Elevation in lane 2. Let's see which one's quicker. Abby Normal. Away with that one. Let's swap lanes. And by the way, testing out a new stop system down here. Just got a couple of rags down here, the microfiber towel rags, and you know, bean bag back there in the back. But I think this is a little bit of a softer stop system, especially coming up with the Top Fuel flame out and those open wheel cars that'll be coming down the track here real soon. Starting to get a few entries, much appreciated. Be updating y'all on that real soon. All right, Abby Normal laying down that 1.533. See if Elevation can do anything about it. Nope. Abby Normal moving on. All right, next up in the bracket we have a couple of the Silverado EVs. We got in the black. We have Bugwood Diecast Racing, and in the gray we have Forhaus Racing. Both of these were sent in by Elevation Diecast, but since they've been picked, there's some good drivers in there. Let's see what they do. All right, lane choice in this one will go to blue, which is the gray. All right, let's see what these Silverado EVs will do. Black one getting out. Bugwood 1.490. Wow. All right. That black one, we got Bugwood laying down that 1.490. Forhaus. Got to beat it. See what happens. Not going to happen. 488. Smoking time. Alright, next up we've got the Audi Quattro here. That's going to be driven by Zip and Zeke today. And he will be joined by the Jaguar MK1 driven by nobody, but since that was donated by Christy, we're going to put Christy's name on it. So we shall see which one of these vehicles goes into lane 1, and it will be the blue lane. Christy will go into lane 1. See what they'll do. All right, here we go. We got Zip and Zeke versus Christy. Let's see what happens. That Audi is pretty quick. 2-1, time to beat. All right, Zip and Zeke with the advantage. Let's see what happens. And he'll cover it with a 5.26. Moving on. All right, next up we have the 2002 BMW, which went unpicked but sent in by Christy, so she'll be piloting that one. And then the Lotus Esprit will be driven by Chris Hood. And let's see who will go into lane one. And it will be the car in the blue, which will be Chris Hood. See what happens. Okay, we got the Lotus in lane one, BMW lane two. Let's see what they'll do. Lotus taking it. 1.508 will be the time to beat. Swap lanes. All right, Christy in lane one now in the Beamer. Chris Hood in lane two in the Lotus. 1.508 time to beat. And Chris Hood will be moving on with the 1.507. Good run. Okay, next up we've got the Custom Auto. That'll be driven by Juan V and Mama Bombshell. And then we have in the 69 Dodge Cornet, one with the flames. Boy, that's a nice looking car. We've got Larry Stipe and Steel City Mafia. Which one will go into lane one? It'll be orange. That's fitting. See up top, see what they do. All right, Custom Auto lane one, 69 Cornet lane two. See what they'll do. Oh wow, the Dodge taken way out. 1.568. Let's swap them. Well, unfortunately, Juan V and Mama Bombshell, the old Custom Auto, is not looking so spiffy tonight. But that Cornet over there looking pretty quick. Let's see if old Larry Stipe and Steel City Mafia can secure this round. I think that's what's going to happen, but let's see. Oh yeah, that Dodge Cornet. Moving on to the next round. All right, and the last two cars on this side of the bracket. The old Salt Shaker there, he was only one person picked, which is cool. Thought it would be more popular. But Just Track It 5, North Carolina, NC, I guess that means. And then in the High Roller, that one also not picked, but that was sent in by Stone Pony, so that's who's driving that one. Yes, we did. Spinner says, and it's going to be blue. So High Roller 2. Alright, let's see which one will get it. Salt Shaker or High Roller 2. A couple of lightweights with skinnies, at least skinnies in the front. Oh, and that Salt Shaker. Giving them something to eat with. An 8-9. Swap them. Alright, we swap Aruski the lane. Salt Shaker now in lane 1. High Roller in lane 2. Time to beat 1.489. And Salt Shaker with a 9.4 will move on. And for the record, current track temperature 88.1 degrees. Awful humid though. Alrighty, we're going to start off here with the right side of the bracket now. Next up we've got the second win. This was another popular choice. Will be in the orange bracket there. That is driven by Rat Sack, Northern Roads Racing, Zizzer Prime, Zamac Speed Shop, and Chargin' Charlie. And then the Formula Solaire there didn't get picked. So that was donated by Bavarian, so we'll put Bavarian in that car. Let's see which one's going in lane 1. Orange or blue. And it will be orange going in lane 1. See what they'll do. All right, back to the action here, right side of the bracket. Let's see what they'll do. Wow, I'm gonna Soul Air 1.507. We'll swap them and see. All right, man. Bavarian Diecast laying down a solid time, 1.507. Man, we got a pile of them in this second win. Rat Sack, Northern Roads, Zizzer Prime, Zamax Speed Shop, and Charging Charlie. So boys better make something happen. Let's see what we do. Not gonna happen. Formula Soul Air, moving on. I don't know why I keep saying Soul Air. It's solar. Dadgummit. Alright, next two up. Representing in the orange position there, we've got the Fusion Busta. That went unpicked, but it was donated by 131 Diecast Racing. And the Hot Wheels 50 will be representing the blue in this one. And that one also went unpicked, but donated by Christy. So there'll be 131 versus Cruising Christy. And let's see which one will end up in lane one. Orange or blue? It'll be blue, so Hot Wheels 50 will be going into lane one. Let's see what they'll do. All right, who you got? Hot Wheels 50 or Fusion Busta? Let's see what they'll do. Hot Wheels 50 taking that one. We'll swap. All right, time to beat 1.554 laid down by Hot Wheels 50 there. And notice that the Fusion Busta, the wheels are a little wonky. They're not really set into position very well, so it is actually dragging the track slightly. So, scrubbing off some speed, unfortunately. That's what happens in the Crack'em and Track'ems. Hot Wheels 50 will be moving on. Alright, next up, we've got a Porsche in the orange bracket and a McLaren in the blue bracket. Both of these cars went unpicked. And both of these cars were donated by Christy. So we're going to put Cruising Christy in the Porsche and Racing Robert, her husband, in the McLaren. And let's see who will get lane one choice. Orange or blue? It will be blue once again. So Racing Robert, he'll start us off in the lane one. See what happens. All right, Racing Robert in lane one. Cruising Christy in lane two. McLaren versus Porsche. And Porsche takes it. The 1.542. Don't really need to swap them, but we're going to anyways. All right, well, we're just going to add insult to injury to old poor Robert here, I think. But let's see what the Porsche can do on the second run. And takes it. Christy will be moving on with that Porsche. All right, next up we've got representing the orange bracket the Volkswagen Baja Bug. That's being driven by Chase Family Racing and Bugger. And then the Ghoulmobile that was sent in by Stone Ponies Racing and Christy, Cruising Christy. That was her original pick. By default, she's gotten into some of the rides that she has donated, but this was the car she wanted, so let's see who is going to end up in lane one. And blue it is again, so here we go. See what they'll do. Okay, this ought to be an interesting race here. Ghoulmobile lane one, Baja Bug lane two. And the Baja Bug has some legs. Look at that. What a close race. 10,000th of a second difference. Let's swap them. All right, man, that's exciting. I love seeing close races like that. So time to beat is a 1.537. Haha does it. Well, he won the first one, and he'll take the round here as well, so he'll be moving on. Okay, next two up, we've got the Ford Lightning that was donated by Stone Ponies Racing, and the Long Block was donated by Abby Normal Speed Shop. Both went unpicked, so that's who will be driving them. And let's see which one ends up in lane one, orange or blue. And this time it will be orange. Ford. Let's see what they'll do. All right, here we go. Stone Ponies in lane one, Abby Normal lane two. Let's see what they'll do. Lightning taken out with it. And we'll go ahead and swap them. Alright, we've swapped lanes. Long Block in lane one now. Lightning in lane two. Lightning taking that one as well. We'll be moving on. Okay, the next two vehicles up, we have D-Muscle. Purple car there. It's a pretty neat looking fantasy casting. Kind of has Camaro Charger vibes to it, but I do like it. So that one is being driven by Larry Henry, and making a rare appearance here at Hot Nuts Diecast Racing Moonshine Drag Strip, we've got old Alfonso Spidacini here in the Lamborghini Gallardo. So let's see which one is going to end up in lane one. It will be the orange lane, which is D-Muscle. So let's see what they'll do. Alright, here we go up in the blocks. Let's see what they'll do. And Alfonso Spidacini in the Lamborghini. Taking that one. Let's swap them. Alright, we swapped lanes. Time to beat 1.518. The Lambo taking that one as well. Alfonso moving on. Okay, we're getting down to it here. We've only got a few more races, or a couple more races to run. Next up, we've got in the Futurismo, which is a really cool casting. Really digging that one. That one is being driven by NZ Racing, 905 Diecast, and Racing Robert. And in the Cadillac, that is another cool casting, boy. I really like that. The yellow I'm not a big fan of, but the casting in general, I'm really digging it. That one is being driven by Bad Dad Hobbies. So let's see who's going to end up in lane one. And it will be orange in lane one. Yeah, I really like both of these castings. You got a nice wide stance, long wheelbase. Let's see what they'll do on a drag strip. Futurismo getting out. Wow. Alright, Cadillac needs to be the 1.524 if he wants to move on. Futurismo looking pretty strong. Oh yeah, gappage. Futurismo. Alright, we're down to the last pairing for the right hand side of the bracket of round one. And in that Mitsubishi Evo, I'm surprised more people didn't pick this one, but hey, that one's being driven by Smokey Mower and myself, old Craigster Sr., taking in that Tesla Plaid there. See who's going to end up in lane one. Blue will be in lane one, so that will be old Craigster and the Tesla. Let's see what happens. Alright, Craigster Sr. in that Tesla Plaid in lane one, Smokey Mower in the Evo in lane two. Let's see what they'll do. Tesla getting out on him. Big time. Alright, well, Smokey Mower and that old Evo over there better get a move on. Better start cutting some grass rather than smoking it, because he's got to beat a 1.545 if he wants to move on. Old Craigster hanging in there. Tesla Plaid taking it. Yes, sir? Okay, we're moving right on into round two. We got that Firebird funny car. That sure was a popular pick. In that one we have Elevation Diecast, Model Speed Shop, Cut Rocka, Henry Stanislawski, Bavarian Diecast, and Slammin' Sammy. And the Corvette GT went unpicked, but that one was sent in by Clay Olson 131 Diecast. So let's see who ends up in lane one. Will it be orange or blue? And it will be blue vehicle. Corvette will go into lane one. Okay, see what they'll do. And the Corvette stunningly taking that one. 1.510. That'll be the time to beat. Wow. And you can't really see it, but this particular funny car unfortunately has a wonky axle setup stock. The right front here tends to stick a little bit. You can pull it over and it kind of just sets right back to where it was when the factory made it. So that one's going to take a little finagling to make it faster. Unfortunately, this is a crack 'em and track 'em, and that's what happens sometimes. Potentially could be a fast car or maybe a mod someday. Let's see what he can do against the Vet. 1.510, time to beat. And he'll do it. Taking an 07 to an 09. Miraculously, Firebird moves on, but next round's going to be a little tight maybe. We'll see. Okay, the next up, we got the Toyota there, the Supra. That one's Abby Normal. No one was picking it, but that's who sent it in. And the Silverado, that's another one that I'm surprised didn't have more picks, but Bugwood is driving that one. So let's see which one of these two is going to end up in lane one. It's going to be orange. Fittingly so. See what happens. Alright, let's see what the Toyota does versus the EV Silverado. Silverado laying it down. Wow. Alright, well, you know, that was obviously gappage, but I like to look a car over, especially when they're just, you know, taken straight out of the package. I rolled them a little bit, give them a brief inspection before sending them down the track, but you never know till you run them. So like to look them over once they have a poor performance and just see if there's anything wrong. Can't really tell. Probably needs a good wheel sanding, but see what happens here. EV putting a whomping on him once again. And that's it for that round. Okay, next up we have Zip and Zeke in the Audi Quattro and Chris Hood in that Lotus Spit. Beautiful custom. Now let's see who ends up in lane one. It will be blue lane, the Lotus. Chris will take over lane one, and let's see what they'll do. Alright, we got Chris Hood in lane one, Zip and Zeke in lane two. See what they'll do. That Lotus is quick. Swap them and see what happens. Okay, we've swapped lanes. 1.508, time to beat. Lotus taking that one as well, a little slower, but he'll be moving on. Okay, getting right down to it here on the left side of the bracket, last two up here. 69 Dodge Cornet, driven by Larry Stipe and Steel City Mafia. And that Salt Shaker, that one is being driven by Just Track It 5 NC. See here who is going to end up in lane one. will be the orange lane. Let's see what they'll do. Alright, let's see how this goes. This ought to be a good race. Horsepower versus salt pepper. Oh, salt shaker. Gonna get him all day. Whew. Could be a one and done, but we're going to swap them anyways. Alright, we've swapped lanes. Obviously, I'm more interested in what the salt shaker will do at this point. Got them skinny wheels on there, always good for wheel farming. Have to run them again. Straight out of the package, running sub 1.5s. That's not too bad. So definitely worth taking a second look at. Okay, here's our next pairing. We've got the Formula Solar. That one is run by Marcus Bavarian Diecast Racing. And the Hot Wheels 50 being driven by Cruisin' Christy. Let's see who ends up in lane one, moving to this right hand side of the bracket, getting down to the quarterfinals here in blue. So Cruisin' Christy and the Hot Wheels 50 will end up in lane one. This is kind of an ironic matchup too, because these cars have like the exact opposite wheels. The Formula Solar has skinnies all the way around, and the Hot Wheels 50 has the wides all the way around. So this is a really interesting matchup here in my opinion, especially straight out of the package. And the Formula Solar. And what happened to my timer? Kind of irrelevant. The timer malfunction. I went ahead and swapped lanes. That happens on occasion. Sometimes you got to reset. I didn't catch it, but we're going to leave that in because that's why. No sense. Formula Solar. Moving on. Okay, so the next pairing we have Christy and the Porsche there in the orange bracket, and Chase Family Racing and Booger in the Baja Bug. Let's see which one will be in lane one. It will be blue. Baja Bug being in lane one. Let's see what they'll do. Okay, it should be interesting. That Baja Bug, by the way, is a metal on metal casting. So got some weight behind it. Let's see what they'll do. Got some tire screech, but he sure made it down there first. Okay, them knobby wheels making some noise, but he's still fast. Made it down, only 1.534. He'll be moving on. Okay, next up we have in that Ford Lightning Stone Ponies Racing. It went unpicked. That's who donated it. And we've got Alfonso Spidacini in the Lambo. And let's see who is going to go into lane one. It's going to be orange. So the truck will be in lane one. Let's take him to the top. All right, we've got the Lightning over here in lane one. Lambo in lane two. Let's see what they'll do. Lambo getting out on him. Swap lanes. Alright, Stone Ponies and that Lightning better find another gear on this one. Old Alfonso will be moving on 1.523. And not as fast, but the Lambo will move on. Okay, this will be the last two vehicles for round two in that Futurismo. We've got Ed Zed Racing, 905 Diecast, and Racing Robert, and myself, Gratester Sr., in that Tesla Model Plaid. Let's see which one of these is going to go into lane one. Orange lane. Futurismo. Let's take him to the top. And just for the record, the spinner wheel thing for lane choice is just something I'm trying out. Wanted to try it in a, just a decide your ride video where it really didn't matter. been thinking about the lane choice thing, and I see you guys doing chip draws and other things like that. So just something I come up with. Figured I'd experiment with it. It does add a little bit of extra time to the videos and editing to it. So I'm not sure, I might scrap it. But anyways, just thought I'd throw that out there. Let me know what you think on a scale from stupid to spectacular. All right, here we go. And that Futurismo getting out. 5:29 will be the time to beat. All right, swap lanes. Futurismo up 1. And he'll be taking this one as well. Okay, moving into the next round here, representing the orange lane, we've got in the Funny Car Elevation Diecast Model Speed Shop, Cut Rocker, Henry Stanislawski Bavarian Diecast Racing, and Slammin' Sammy. And down here in the black Silverado EV, we've got Bugwood Diecast Racing. So let's see who's going to be in lane 1. Blue, Bugwood. Lane 1 choice. Let's take him to the top. Alright, this ought to be a pretty good race here. Let's see who's going to take it. And that EV breaking into the 1.4s. 493. It'll be time to beat for that Funny Car. Tall order. And I'll say it again. I think I said it before, but that Funny Car definitely has a wonky wheel in the front right. It's kind of sticks. I can get it freed up, but then it kind of goes back and rubs the chassis. So it's going to take a little work to free that up and make it a little faster than what it's doing now. But I said all these are straight out of the package, so that's what you get. And that's one, that EV. Having some good times. He'll be moving on. And another thing you might have picked up on was there's a little now background noise. I had to get a fan going out here. It is just too hot. 83% humidity in here now. Ridiculous. Anyways, we've got in the Lotus Esprit, we've got Chris Hood. And in the Salt Shaker, we've got Just Track It 5NC. Let's see who is going to be in lane 1. It's going to be the blue, the Salt Shaker. Take him to the top. Okay, here we go. Salt Shaker in lane 1, Lotus in lane 2. Good race. Salt Shaker taking that one. Swap it. Alright, Chris Hood gonna have to find another gear on that Lotus if he wants to win. 1.5496 is the time to beat by that Salt Shaker. And the Salt Shaker, not as fast, but he'll be moving on. Alright, moving over to the right hand side of the bracket. Formula Solar, being driven by Bavarian Diecast. Car donated by him, being driven by Chase Family Racing and Booger. Let's see who's going to end up in lane 1. Formula Solar being orange and the Baja Bug being blue will be in lane 1. Let's take him to the top. Okay, this ought to be interesting. Baja Bug lane 1, Formula Solar lane 2. Oh, that noise. Formula Solar taking that. Formula Solar laying down that 1.512. Baja Bug with his loud wheels. Sounds like every modern day Matchbox casting pretty much. Wish they'd do something about that. And 507 will take it. Formula Solar moving on. Next up in the blocks it'll be Alfonso Spedicini and that Lamborghini Gallardo. And he'll be facing the Futurismo, which is driven by NZ Racing, 905 diecast, and Racing Robert. Let's see who's going to end up in lane 1. And the blue lane, Futurismo, be in lane 1. Let's take him to the top. Okay, Futurismo, lane 1. Lambo, lane 2. Lambo got around in 5-2-1. Let's swap it. All right, time to be 1.5-2-1. See if you can take it. Lambo's doing it again, slower, but he'll be moving on. Okay, representing the left side of the bracket up first, we have Bugwood Racing in that Silverado EV in black. And also we have in the blue bracket the Salt Shaker, that being driven by Just Track It 5 MC. Let's see who's going to take lane 1. Semi-final round. And it will be the Silverado. Let's take him to the top. This ought to be a great race here. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. Silverado and Salt Shaker. Silverado 8.6. Wow. You get an idea what everybody's talking about. The buzz on these Silverados, they're pretty quick. This one is untouched and it's running sub 5s here, which is good. Might be a contender. 4.83, even better. Look at that. Okay, and another strong car, this Formula Solar, being driven by the Bavarian Diecast Racing, and the Lamborghini Gallardo, driven by Alfonso Spidacini. Let's see who ends up in lane 1. Right hand side of the bracket, orange. It's Formula Solar. Let's take it to the top. Alright, Formula Solar lane 1, Lambo lane 2. Alright, Formula Solar laying down a 1.5, 1-1, time to beat. Take it. 504, be moving on. Okay, so the final is going to end up being the Silverado EV with Bugwood Diecast Racing, the Formula Solar with Bavarian Diecast, and we've got going for the third place position the Salt Shaker, driven by Just Track It 5 NC, and we'll put him up against old Alfonso Spidacini and the Lambo. Third place. Let's see which lane is going to get, or which color is going to get lane 1. And the Salt Shaker and orange bracket will go into lane 1. Let's see for the race for third. Okay, here we go. Race for third. Salt Shaker's in lane 1. And pretty good there. 1.497. All right, swap lanes. Alfonso needs to step it up, 1.497. Time to beat. Salt Shaker going to take this one 15 flat. Okay, so now the final. Let's see who ends up in lane 1. It will be the blue lane. Formula Solar, Bavarian Diecast versus Bugwood. Okay, final round action. Let's see what happens. Silverado pulling out 1.485. Alright, tall order to beat that 1.485. Let's see if Formula Solar's got anything left. Not gonna happen. 9005. Alright, so there you have it. There is the champ for this edition of the Decide Your Ride here at Hot Nuts Diecast Racing. Hope you enjoy these stock castings straight out of the package going down the track. I'm going to do a little different on the next video. I've got some other ones coming up. Also got a race coming up, Top Fuel Flame Out. Stay tuned for that. Starting to get some entries in. So really looking forward to hosting another race here real soon. Dragster Sr. checking out for now.